Do you like my mug? Hello, my friends. In this video, I wanted to talk to you about what some of my thoughts are going into 2022, and I just want to share with you. First off, you just saw my morning routine. That's a pretty typical morning routine for me. Give or take the washing dishes, or sometimes I'll like clean the entire house in the morning. I don't manage to keep the entire house clean, so I'll do little bits here and there, but I also struggle. Let's start with the theme of this video. It's what I plan on doing differently in 2022 versus 2021. 2021 was a very formative year for me, I would say. The fact that it was my first year going to therapy, and also first year doing a lot of crazy things like dyeing my hair and getting tattoos. This past year, I was a lot more lenient to myself when it came to my work and my artwork and my deadlines, because I was putting my mental health first as a priority, and I think I took at least a good 6 months of very dedicated taking care of myself and waking up whenever I wanted to, not pushing myself with deadlines, not having to take advantage of every single opportunity that came my way, even though a lot of great opportunities did come my way. I always push myself very hard, and I have, historically done so. And this past year, I wanted to focus more on my own well-being and my mental health, taking care of my home, taking care of my cats, doing things that I enjoyed, watching a lot of TV if I needed to, taking a break from social media. Well, taking tiny little breaks. I never took a big break, but I would sometimes just post once or twice a month. At the end of 2021, I started to take, just around November, December, I started to take my social media a little bit more seriously again. I took a huge 2-week vacation with my boyfriend, and we went to Colorado and Seattle, and it was a really good break, like completely away from all work and just like my home, and it helped me evaluate what I wanted for this new year. So I wrote quite a couple of notes down for my goals for this year, and I wanted to share them with you. I have 2 lists. One of them is called the master plan, and the second list is goals for my artwork in 2022. My first part of the master plan is to archive my videos that I don't resonate with. As I'm making strides in my personal life, I don't really want to have those videos up on my channel anymore, just because I don't think they're indicative of my personality anymore, or my beliefs, or a lot of even my art process or critique. So I'm sorry if a lot of videos that you enjoy are going to be off of my channel, but if I'm going to be taking down a tutorial, I'm probably going to redo that tutorial now, updated version. I'm not trying to withhold any good art tips, and if there's anything that I think is a good art tip, I will still include it. I'll like copy and paste it to a new video, but just a lot of the stuff that I said and thought and did, I don't resonate with anymore, so those have to go. One other goal that I have is to create like a more cohesive video brand package and to create animated transitions, and I have big plans for them, so stay tuned. Hopefully I come up with them and I do them. They've been on my mind. I've been planning them for a while now, but it was, towards the end of the past year I didn't have time to do them, so I'm hoping that I will do them. If you want to see a process of how I create these animated transitions, let me know, and I could hopefully film a behind the scenes process for you guys. This next one is to read 20 or 30 minutes every morning. As you've seen my morning routine, it's kind of chaotic, and it's a lot of time spent on my phone before getting out of bed, a lot of time spent on my phone while I'm getting ready in the morning, and then when I'm going to be watching YouTube when I'm eating breakfast. And so I want to be a lot more intentional with my time and to read a little bit more. Case in point, not a big book, not a hard read, but Sean, Furry Little Peach, just recommended this book, and I have already purchased it and read it. It is really good, and I'm going to give it another reread and take notes. But my plan is to either read artistic, creative process content, stuff about social media, things that will further my business, or to read books on social issues. One book that I'm almost through with is I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness by Austin Channing Brown. It is fantastic, and I definitely recommend it. I've been trying for the past 2 months, and hopefully moving forward in 2022 to read books that will have a better impact on my own growth. I would also like to come up with an Instagram post schedule, and on the next page is a schedule that I created. So hopefully I will keep on that track. My perspective on how my Instagram was supposed to be, like from a year, 2 years ago, was a lot different than what it's changed to be now. I felt the pressure to only post final works, and if I showed process photos, they would have to have some sort of process tutorial walkthrough aspect where I could be teaching. But I've realized that that's just not sustainable for posting regular content on my channel, both on my YouTube and my Instagram, and that was a big reason that it discouraged me from creating anything or posting anything at all. The way that I'm going to be switching my mindset is to think of sharing more about my personal life, sharing more about my actual process, sharing more failures, because something I don't really do often. More of like, oh, this went wrong, I will share it with you. I have one personal goal, which is to message my contractor about my countertops. I am going to be remodeling my kitchen and finishing up my dining area, hopefully in these next 2 months. So if you would like to see a kitchen remodel video, please let me know, because I will film it for you. I'm going to be retiling, redoing the floors, painting, maybe like a fun mural, adding some cabinetry, hopefully. So you let me know if you want to see that, because I will create it. And then my last goal, which is pretty lofty and pretty scary, is to find management. I've not been able to find management yet, and that's something that I think would really help me with my whole YouTube and my Instagram, you know, communicating and figuring out arbitrary budgets, and just having management that could very easily do all of that for me and be like, here's a project, do it. And I'll be like, okay, cool. But if you have management and you like your management, let me know any tips that you have of finding it, what to look for. I'm a newbie. Let's talk about my goals for my artwork in 2022. First off, I want to say that I'm a little bit disappointed in the work that I created in 2021. I really thought that I had created more work in 2021 than I really did. And a lot of the work that I created in 2020, I thought I did in 2021. I mean, these 2 years have blended into each other in a crazy amount. But when I looked back on my body of work that I created this past year, I wasn't that pleased with how much I created or the type of work that I created. And while there's like 3 paintings that I do really like from this past year, that's only 3 paintings in 12 months. Again, I'm going to have grace with myself in the way of I took a lot of time for my own personal growth and less time for my artwork. But that being said, in 2022, I want to delve back into my business and into creating art and improving my skill in a much more intense way. The way that I'm thinking of this list is that these are things that I want my artwork to have more of. And the way that I can keep this list is by referencing this list every single time I create a new piece. Every time I'm ideating a new piece and coming up with a sketch and the thumbnails and all that, I have to keep these things in mind. Something in this list has to be incorporated in whatever new painting I create. And hopefully a couple of these points are going to be in each painting, but at least one of these should be in each painting. So these are things that I don't really see in my work from 2021 or even 2020 very much. So let me share them with you. First off, we have dynamic movement in poses. A lot of my pieces in 2021 were just portraits, and not even expressive portraits at that. So I'd like to have more dynamic movement. I also want more exaggerated angles and foreshortening. So with the dynamic movements, I want different angles in my pieces, you know, different camera views and perspectives, so that my pieces are a little bit more interesting. I also want some pieces, not all of them, but to include multiple characters in one painting. That's something that I've rarely, if ever, done, and that is something that I want to explore a little bit more of, how I can create pieces that stand alone, that tell a story, that have multiple characters in them, that still feel like my own work. My next goal is detailed backgrounds. I never add backgrounds to my pieces. I mean, when I do, they're very abstract. I'd like to have actually detailed backgrounds in my paintings, whether it be a coffee shop or a forest or, you know, mountains, nature, something. My poor plant. I'm gonna have to water it and repot it. My next goal is to have more storytelling in my pieces. I think that's important and also ties in with all of these other points, is I have to stop painting just simple portraits that tell no story. I have to have some sort of themes or, you know, something to accomplish with my pieces, or else I'm not going to improve. That ties into the next point, which is steady themes and more intricate and complicated artwork. Spending more time on a tedious subject is going to make it a better painting. One of the big reasons that my artwork hasn't been as impactful recently is because I don't spend as much time as I used to on paintings. When you work often at something, you become more efficient at it, and because I haven't been working a lot of digital paintings, I'm not efficient. I'm spending as much time as I used to on paintings, and I'm getting discouraged because I've spent a couple of hours on a painting and I don't have a finished rendered piece, but then I kind of give up. I leave it sort of sketchy. And so one thing that I want to do is to add a lot more detail that I know needs to be in the piece to make it stand out and make it something that I'm proud of. Another big goal for my artwork is to capture nostalgic emotions in scenes. One thing that always happens to me is when I'm driving at night and it's raining and I see the streetlights, I always think, dang, I really want to paint this. And I never do. I've never painted streetlights. I want to paint pieces that are at least kind of give you that nostalgic feel. If it's not just going to be a painting of streetlights, I want it to evoke the same feeling that that moment evokes. This is probably the most grounded goal, is to create at least 2 full-scale digital paintings each month. I'm not sure what 2022 is going to look like in terms of work for me, but I think that I can paint 2 digital paintings each month. We'll see how that goal goes. That one probably is the most lenient in case I have something huge that I need to work on, but the rest of everything is art goals and things I want to keep in mind every time I start a new piece. I want to know what your thoughts are, and if you have any goals for this new year, what kind of content you'd like to see on my channel out of all of the things that I mentioned, what interests you the most about my channel, and what part of my process do you like to see the most so that I can create videos that are, best catered for you. Thank you for being here. Hope you have a good start to your 2022, a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.